Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. We had a question this week also from Cindy, and this is one that Fred usually says he'd like to talk to you about. And Cindy asks, I'd like to grow blueberries. Could you talk about soil preparation and how long it might be before I get a crop?
Okay. Well, in Ohio, the soil pH, in other words, the acidity, alkalinity of the soil tends to be more on the neutral to alkaline side. And blueberries like a more of an acid soil situation. So we had great blueberries there in Central Ohio, but we raised them we grew them in a raised bed that was probably about half of it was sphagnum peat moss when we prepared the soil, and then we put acidifier around them every spring. Usually it's granular sulfur that you can buy, but it's a plant food acidifier that you can put around them every spring, and then that will help keep the pH low enough so that the blueberries will do well. And I always like to plant two varieties. That way you can have an extended period because you'll have a early variety and a later variety. So look for a couple different varieties, and you should be good. And you're going to start to see blueberries within a couple of years after you planted them.
That's going to take a while.
Yeah, but the ones we had in Ohio, we had those same 6 blueberry plants for probably 25 or 30 years, and we got a lot of blueberries off of those 6 plants. Do
you happen to remember any of the names of the ones that you like the best?
No, I really don't. I don't really recall the names, but I think your garden center will make sure that you get good varieties. You can go to the internet, and the Ohio State Extension Service might list some varieties. But as long as you go with an early variety, and I think now that I'm recalling, I think one of the varieties was called Early Blue. And then the later variety, I'm not sure exactly which one that one was, but you extend your harvest by having an early one and a later one.
Now, is it the same rule of thumb for other berries? Like if you were going to do like a raspberry bush, is it the same thing? Do they also like the more alkaline soil?
Well, the blueberries like the more acid soil, but blackberries, raspberries, they can go with the soils that you find there in Ohio.
That's why
you don't have to do a lot of modification there on them.
I guess that's why they just grow everywhere.
Yes.
Absolutely. I love going out and picking blackberries. Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Howard and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Circle270media.com